are listening to a One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast that tells the stories of craft beer in Minnesota and beyond. So kick back, relax, and grab a cold one. The show starts now. Hello, my name is Dan Bobian, and I write, produce, and host a One Pint Stand. I'm ecstatic that you're listening. This podcast has been a passion project of mine since 2016. On this episode, I head out to Northbound Smokehouse and Brewpub. I've been wanting to sit down with Andy Rosenthal, their head brewer, for some time. Now, Andy's a familiar face in the Minnesota craft beer scene, and he's brewed at quite a few tremendous places. Northbound has always been a great spot for delicious food and well-made beer. In the last year, Andy won a gold medal at the World Beer Cup for his Doppelbock, and I've been wanting to chat with him and hear the story. Since it's back on tap, I knew it would be a great opportunity for him to tell me the tale of the beer and have him explain how it became worthy of the accolades that it has received over the last year. It is also interesting to hear about how the uniqueness of a brewpub allows for such a connection between the beers that Andy brews and the food that they create in the kitchen. So let's head out to South Minneapolis for my chat with Andy Rosenthal, the head brewer at Northbound Smokehouse and Brewpub. Cheers. Welcome to another on-location episode of a One Pint Stand. My name is Dan Bobian, and we are here at Northbound Smokehouse, and I'm so happy to be joined by Andy, the City Elf, Rosenthal, the head brewer at Northbound. Thank you so much for allowing me in today. This is wonderful.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming by.
Yes, so we're here now. As we were talking before I pressed record, you had mentioned that Northbound has been around for 12 years.
Yeah, coming up on 12 in
celebrating
September.
12 years in September. And I remember before I knew much about craft beer, one of my coworkers who live not too far from here said that a brew pub had opened, and their smoked wings are fantastic.
They are.
And so the brew pub, and we're going to talk about what is a brew pub versus a brewery a little later in the show. But before we kind of dive in, I just want to tell people that whether you've been here before or you're like, what is Northbound? Maybe you don't know how to read a compass, but this is such a wonderful spot for great beer and great food, and Northbound does a great job of kind of marrying the two things together, which I think is really exciting. So we're gonna kind of tiptoe all the way. Also, we happen to be drinking a very decorated, when it comes to awards beer, the Doppelbock, and Andy will tell us all about this beer. And we thought it would be good because, we're recording this during the Olympics, and this beer has won several gold medals. So we've got a lot in store on this show, and I think it's going to be really fun. So Andy, start off by telling me what initially got you into craft beer.
Craft beer was starting to take off when I was 19 or 20, and it was something that piqued my interest because even though I didn't know a whole lot about beer at the time, there didn't seem like there was a great diversity in different styles you can get. I worked at a restaurant, and, there's a lot of the Bud Lights, Miller Lights, etc.
Oh, yes.
But they also did have Surly on, and was one of the first, south of the river to have Furious on. And I was like, oh, what's that? And then I started home brewing. It was my Christmas present from my mom at 20.
Nice. Excellent. Where did you grow up?
Savage Prior Lake area.
Oh, okay. All right. I want to ask you, because I remember the first time I had a Surly Furious, and I don't think my palate was really equipped. It was I don't know if you remember when you were little, those little, kind of three-wheel kind of plastic, tricycles that you'd have. I felt like at the time my palate was equipped to handle a Blue Moon with a big orange slice in it, or maybe a Killian's Irish Red, and trying the Surly Furious was like going from that little like, big wheel bike to a crotch rocket, which we're going to say the word crotch a lot on here. So if you're keeping track at home, this is time number 1.
Bingo card.
Yeah, right. If you had crotch rocket on your bingo card, it's a 1 pint stand is firing on all cylinders. What was that experience like for you the first time you had Surly Furious?
No, it was a little jarring,
Yeah.
Like, some of the other beers when I started drinking was actually one of my favorites was Blue Moon.
Oh, yeah.
Both great. I don't know, it sounds disingenuous to say great starter beer, but like to get into craft beer because, still not a bad beer. But,
yeah, it's great. It's a great beer. It tastes the same every time you have it. It's a good gateway beer into moving away from like the Coors Lights and the Miller Lights onto different flavors.
Yeah. But yeah, I just probably wasn't ready for like the hops and stuff and was just like probably a little confused, but also like, oh, this is good. Like,
yeah.
Just like figuring out what this new experience I'm having.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think it like that's what's so interesting to me about craft beer is that like you think beer can be one thing. I mean, I think I grew up back in the day when I was a wee lad, and if my grandpa asked for me to run to the fridge and get him a beer, he would always let me have like the first sip. Oh. And I don't remember what kind of beer he drank, but I just remember him like, this tastes very strange. But like, that first jarring thing, and then like you circle back to it, when you're older, and I don't know how many people really have like a really awesome first beer experience. I think probably a lot of people like myself, their first beer experience is like a lukewarm keg of Busch Light in the basement of a house party that is not fantastic, and it's like, why? I don't get what the buzz is all about. But then when you taste something like a Surly Furious or like a Big Jim IPA, you kind of like, it is jarring, but in a very positive way.
Yeah.
So working at a restaurant, being kind of like exposed to things that are different than like macro beers. What do you remember what the first thing you brewed with your homebrew kit was?
Yeah, so where I especially really got into beer is after high school, I backpacked Europe with a friend. And
sweet.
Yeah, and this is kind of a little before I started drinking Blue Moon and Furious. Totally not having friends buy it for me. I was in München, as they call it, or Munich, as we say, and I had my first Hefeweizen, and it blew me away. I was like, this is what beer can be. Holy shit. Like, this is amazing. So when I got the homebrew kit, the first thing I brewed was a Hefeweizen.
Okay. Was your homebrew kit, was it like a extract kit, or was it like the whole all-grain setup?
I was in college, so I just started with extract.
Okay.
After college went all grain.
Yeah. Do you think that craft beer would be different if more people could have had their first craft beer experience like you did in Munich with a Hefeweizen?
I mean, probably. I mean,
I just think that's so cool.
But yeah,
that's like, if you were like in high school and your first date was like Jennifer Love Hewitt, that would be like, oh, well, now dating is ruined for me.
Yeah, like where do I go from here?
That's so interesting. I think, that's like going to the source, like literally the source of craft beer. What other things did you try that were memorable when you were on that trip? I have to imagine it was quite a few different wonderful beer experiences.
Yeah, still in Munich, shortly after that, Hefeweizen, I went to Hofbrauhaus and had a liter Stein of the Hofbrau original, just a great, fantastic lager. I'm like, oh, this is really nice. And then I'm like, I'm going to try the Dunkel. So then I get a liter of Dunkel. Keep in mind, I'm 18 with no drinking experience. And I wasn't in too bad shape. I got just really sleepy and only made it through half of that Dunkel liter, sadly, even though I was like in love with the flavors, and I'm just like, I'm going back to the hostel and going to bed early
Yeah.
because I'm just so full.
Yeah, that's Germany is a bucket list location for me. Not only to go to some of those big, like the Hofbrauhaus and different things, and try the beers, but also like I was reading this book. It's the Red Lagers book. I can't remember the author, but like I think a lot of people, especially brewers, probably know of what I speak. The author details in great depth his first experience during Oktoberfest, and while the beers were exciting, he details like all the foods that are available, and like, you know, whole chickens on a spit just going around. I'm like, that I'm a chicken guy, so that to me is something that's really interesting. How many did you just? Were you solely kind of like focused on Germany, or did you go to other countries?
Yeah, I went to France, went to England, Amsterdam for a little bit, and Ireland. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's quite a foray into European.
Yeah.
What were the standouts from Ireland and England?
You know, I had some great pints of Guinness in Ireland. I don't have much of a like standout from England.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, if I were to go back now, and I hope to someday, like,
Yeah.
be like, where do I get camera cask, right? Just
Yes,
like, where do I
yes.
get the most traditional cask ale I can find?
Yeah.
I will try to drink it all.
Yeah, yeah. That is one of my favorite styles. Anytime I run into like a good like ordinary bitter or best bitter, you know, on tap, and if it's in a cask, if I see the beer engine, I get all tingly in my swimsuit area.
Yeah.
Have you ever been out to? Well, I'm sure you've been to Denver,
Yep.
Colorado. Have you ever been to Hogshead?
Oh yeah, only once so far, but
Yeah.
but
Oh my God.
they do so much cask ale.
That's
there.
why I
It's
want my
wonderful.
ashes to be sprinkled in the parking lot, or maybe in one of the casks. And just don't tell
cask
anybody.
conditioned Dan.
Just see. That's all. I need that shirt, or better yet,
New,
maybe
new 1 pint stand shirt, right?
That's right. Cask conditioned Dan. That'll be some sort of proprietary lotion.
Oh, yeah.
So you do the Europe thing. You come back. The first beer you brew is a Hefeweizen. How did it turn out?
It turned out all right. I mean, I just, you know, bought the extract kit. I remember I opened it with, you know, I did the like 2-week bottle conditioning and all that, and brought a couple bottles over to a friend's place. Like, hey, like, let's be the first to open this. And then like we cracked it, and I'm like, oh, it smells like a Hefeweizen. It's like, oh, it tastes like a Hefeweizen. And so was like kind of really like excited and was like, oh, okay, like
Yeah.
maybe I can do this. But then like 2 weeks later, the bottles didn't seem like they kept that well. I don't know.
But for your
early
first
on,
time,
like, yeah.
I mean, if the initial experience was positive, I'd say like you were on something. Now, you're not on something, onto something.
Yeah.
Maybe you were on something too. Who knows? So did you were, am I totally off here? You were an English major.
Double major in English and philosophy. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yep.
That's why I brew beer now.
That's right. That's right. So no science background.
Very, very little.
Okay.
I've actually never taken a chemistry class. Skipped it in high school, honestly, because I was a little intimidated by it. And
Oh,
now,
yeah.
of course, I'd be like, oh, I'd love to take a chemistry class and like
Yeah.
get the basics and stuff.
Yeah, I think that I took a chemistry class and it ruined science for me. I'm like, well, this is stupid. But I would imagine that like after you're brewing beer and understand the process, it probably like a lot of chemistry would really click in for you. When did you? So how many? Did you keep track of how many batches of homebrew that you've done? And do you still homebrew?
I do have a homebrew journal. I mean, I got that midway through kind of home brewing, so it's not a complete And it's a lot of, it's making styles I liked and enjoyed.
Okay.
Or some stuff like friends would request, like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, I really like Surly Cynic. Could you make me something like that? I'm like, well, Northern Brewer offers, at least at the time, a Surly Cynic kit.
Yeah.
Just buy that and make it. Like,
Yeah,
so-
I was very partial to the Caribou Slobber at Northern Brewer.
Oh, yeah.
Basically the Moose Drool clone. They had some good extract kits back in the day. I thought that was kind of fun. So when did you get the itch to, like, all right, I'm homebrewing, I'm getting better, this is fascinating, I want to read more about it, I think about it, I've got a journal about it. When did you decide that maybe you wanted to pursue a career in brewing?
While I was still in undergrad, kind of junior, senior year,
And did you go to the U?
U of M Morris. So
Oh, okay, okay.
Well, actually, I did my first 2 years at Normandale to try and save some money, and then transferred to Morris.
Okay,
So,
all right. During undergrad, you were like, okay, maybe brewing.
yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun, of course, home brewing, and was like, hey, it like ends in this product I can share with friends, and then like friends are excited about it, and yeah, and I wasn't totally sure how I would get into the beer industry, especially maybe not having a science background or like, haven't gone to school for it.
Yeah.
I think at the time, and still you'd like go to Siebel or something, and I was looking at that, and I'm like, well, I'm already a lot of money in debt. I don't want to just like jump into
What's another 80 grand?
yeah, right.
So now what year are we talking here?
Was 2013?
Okay.
2012.
Okay.
It was like junior, senior year, I think.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. So after the Surly Bill was passed, I guess that's a good waypoint for people because, like, craft beer has been around in Minnesota for a while, dating back to when Summit opened in, like, 1986, and then Shell's has been around for 150-some years. But that's, like, the first, the old school. The Minnesota Mount Rushmore breweries are, there's probably a handful of them. The second wave of new craft breweries came around after the Surly Bill passed in 2011. And like so you're 2013, after that's happened. Do you remember what the first craft brewery that you went to in Minnesota was?
Yeah, actually, I was still in college, but I was back and visiting friends who lived going to U of M Twin Cities, and they lived walking distance from Harriet Brewing, R.I.P.
Okay, yes, for sure.
And so that was the first brewery tour I went on, and you could buy at that point, the bill still had not either passed or was a thing yet.
Okay.
But I got a growler of their double and was Dark Abbey, and that's one of my favorite styles.
Yeah.
It's just like this incredible.
Yeah. That's cool. So, when did you get your first brewing job?
So I did AmeriCorps for 2 years after college, and try to network and homebrew and like share my own brews. And I was volunteering for Brow Brothers, just pouring beer and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then I met J.T. Dalton, who was the head brewer of Barley John's Brewpub at the time, and his assistant, Nathan. And Nathan was going to be leaving to move down to Iowa, where his partner lived. And I'd given them some homebrew from me, and they both really liked it. And,
Okay.
And JT's assistant's like, yeah, I really think you should hire Andy. And so that was my first job.
Okay. Yeah. That Barley John's was a really neat place. I miss it.
Yeah. It was R.I.P. Barley John's as well.
Yeah.
one of the original craft brewery, original brew pubs.
Yep.
In the area.
Yeah, because I know Town Hall opened in '97. When did
I think
Barley John's has been maybe around that time?
Yeah, I think it was about 3-ish years later. I think about 2000.
Okay.
Anyone listening who knows the exact date?
Yeah, people are probably
apologize.
screaming at their speakers right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barley John's. I remember going there. My wife had a work function or a work happy hour. She works at the U of M in their barley breeding department. And I had gone up there. I mean, this was before I really got into craft beer. And I'm like, wow, they have a lot of different beer styles that I've never really seen. What was the old 88 porter?
Old 8 porter.
Old 8 porter, yeah.
Yeah, one of the 4-year rounds there was delicious.
That one tickled my fancy. I like that one. But their food was good, too.
Yeah, the food was really good.
So you get the job at Barley John's. They did quite well when it would come to, reputation in Minnesota. I remember the Dark Knight series of beers. That's when I started going to Winterfests. They would always. That was always a brewery that I'd make sure to stop by, because I'm like, they're gonna have the barrel aged Dark Knight.
Yeah,
and that was always a special beer. That's very interesting. Like how already we've been talking for 20 minutes, and we've already named 2 breweries that were very instrumental to the Minnesota craft beer scene that are no longer here. We've had to say R.I.P. twice already.
We're
going to have to say it again when I kill this Doppelbock, because it's delicious. So how long did you work at Barley John's?
It was about 2.5 years.
Okay.
And then I got a job at Town Hall Brewery. They're still with us. They have several...
Thank the fucking Lord.
They're so good.
I love Town Hall Brewery.
Go to your nearest town hall near you. They have several separate restaurants in addition to the brewery and Seven Corners. So.
Yeah. And another brew pub.
Yeah, another brew pub.
Yeah.
As well, and so they're one of the originals, and I'll lead the way. And so many people came out of there to go start other places. Yes. So it's
crazy the number of brewers who got started there or spent time there that moved on to other things.
Yeah,
that's why I feel so sorry for Mike. I'm sure, anytime they have people over and they have to leave, maybe he, has a really hard time saying goodbye. I mean, he's watched so many people, so much talent. But I would imagine that at Town Hall, in addition to working at Barley John's, the amount of technical brewing knowledge that you gained was just probably really difficult to quantify.
Yeah. For me, with Barley John's, so, I'd never worked with, professional, if you will, great equipment or, on the bigger scale. I've never worked with pumps or anything. My all-grain setup for home brewing was pretty, basic, but in a not basic in a bad way.
Yeah.
Just Occam's razor, if you will. More parts, more problems, right?
Yeah.
And
that's why Legos are frustrating to me. I'll tell you, boy. I stick with the Duplos. I don't want to overthink it.
Yeah. And at Barley John's, it was just a really intense month and a half, train me in so I can do the process. And then JT went over to the production brewery. They had started in New Richmond, Wisconsin.
Right. Yep.
So I was kind of just left alone with that. And
oh boy,
I would learn, and so it was definitely a trial by fire.
Yeah.
Of course I learned a lot in intro sort of way there. It wasn't until, it's I have all these questions, like I said, I haven't been to brewing school and all this. I did meet my who I'd call my main mentor in beer, Bob McKenzie. Hi, Bob, if you're listening. Who is the head brewer at the Barley John's production brewery, and he's been around the industry forever. But then at Town Hall, I was really able, because, I'm with a team of people.
Yeah.
And Mike's there, and I just was able to ask lots of questions, get answers, and talk about stuff. So that's kind of how I learned best, is in person, discussions and demonstrations and stuff. So Town Hall, I feel like really, really helped. Accelerate or grow my knowledge.
Yeah. What was the biggest surprise, I guess, becoming a professional brewer that you wish somebody would have told you before you got into it?
Everything. No, I don't know. Strength training to lift bags of grain. Be ready to make more mistakes than you're expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
And not very glamorous. I think a lot of people, I've had a lot of brewers on the show, and they all say kind of the same thing. It's like, if you think brewing is just sitting there tasting beer and being really let's make this recipe, you shouldn't do it, because it's a lot of grunt work, a lot of cleaning, and a lot of not great working conditions.
Right.
You're busting your hump every day, like you said, 55-pound grain bags, and it's usually hot in there, and just so you're at Town Hall. How long were you at Town Hall?
Only about 5.5 months.
Okay.
I wasn't planning on to leave, but I had I was dog sitting for a friend in the neighborhood here who lives near Northbound. And so I'm like, well, I'm by Northbound. I'm going to come in for lunch for a beer and a sandwich, because why wouldn't you?
Right, yeah.
And Jamie, the owner and original brewer, and he still brews and is involved in the brewery, I think I was sitting in the chair you're sitting in now, Dan,
yes.
actually.
I imagine myself a young Andy the City Elf sitting here with a porchetta, possibly a... They didn't... What would it have been? Do you remember the beer? I'm trying to set the scene for the listeners. All seven of you. Ooh, a BLT.
Yeah. Well, we make our own bacon here. I have nothing to do with the bacon, and it is to die for. It's
yummy.
So good. Maybe the beer was a porter, because of the original year-rounds. The porter's my favorite.
Yeah.
Now it's probably the Provi Pils, kind of the year-round lighter offering, if you will. But that wasn't. That came later.
Okay.
I was sitting where you're sitting, talking to the bartender, who I knew from being around in the industry, and Jamie comes up around the stairs here, sees me, and is like, "Oh, hey, we were just talking about you." And I think, "Oh, ha ha ha, very funny."
Yeah.
And how have you been, Jamie? And he's like, "No, I don't beat around." Or sorry, I jumped out. He's like, "No, we really were just talking about you." I'm like, "In what way?" And he's like, "Can I poach you?" And I'm like, "Hold on."
I'm not an egg, mister. You have to buy me dinner first.
Right. You really should have bought me that BLT. And, Jamie made it appealing to come here. Like I said, I love Town Hall. I had no intentions on leaving there, at least for a while.
Yeah.
On some advice of others, if someone's offering you an opportunity, that's maybe. And I do really wish I could have worked at Town Hall longer. Just I like Mike and Derek and the the whole place. Like I said, was a big fan before, still am, but took the lead. And
Okay.
Also glad very much glad I took that lead.
So what year did you become a brewer here?
Little over 6 years ago.
Okay.
So
yeah. So that's quite the tenure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as I've been, kind of on the exterior of the Minnesota craft beer industry, one thing I notice is there's a lot of movement, and it's kind of a rarity when somebody sticks around at a place. And when I say a lot of movement, I want to clarify. It's not because there's just like a lot of bad places to work. It's because the nature of the beast is, depending on the size of the brewery, if you are looking to move up from like a shift brewer or assistant brewer to head brewer, there's only so many head brewing positions.
Yeah.
So once somebody leaves, there's a little bit of an industry domino effect that happens. So you've been here 6+ years. What about this place has made you want to stick around?
Well, I've only mainly brewed. I mean, I've maybe helped out and brewed at a place or two, but I really like the Brewpub aspect. It's, you get to know your regulars more.
Yeah.
There's more opportunity, at least here, for creativity, which is something I value a lot. And it's not that I get to be creative all the time either. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, we just have to, do a bunch of the year rounds, or like, oh, I have an idea. Sometime I'll fit that idea in the next 6 months when the opportunity presents itself. But also it's, Jamie calls Northbound what was the movie? Like the Empire Records of brew pubs.
That's a really apropos comparison.
I mean, where Jamie and I get along well. He allows me to be creative, even at times he raises an eyebrow. Even though I don't feel like I'm doing anything like too off the wall, crazy or experimental, but I don't know. It has a very natural feel for me.
Yeah. Well, I think some of the things you touched on, getting to know the locals, having a semblance of creativity is important, because if you work for a brewery that's focused on production, you don't get to you don't really get that opportunity. So having a system that is big enough where you get to like really scale up recipes, but also small enough where you're cycling through things a lot. I mean, you all have a great beer portfolio, and I would imagine that's if creativity and just like for lack of a better term, just like the variety of things you get to do is appealing. This would be a good fit for somebody like that.
Yeah.
You have your kind of mainstays, and then you have seasonals. Now, we're recording this the first week of August. I think we have like another week left of the Olympics. And you have the Doppelbock is back on tap.
It is, just this past Saturday.
Now, this beer has won several awards, but probably one of the big awards that any beer can win is a medal in the World Beer Cup.
Yeah.
And so we're drinking a gold medal award-winning Doppelbock.
Yeah.
Now, that's not the only award this beer has won.
No. It took first place in the dark lager category at the Minnesota Brewers Cup, put on by the Minnesota Craft Brewers Guild. And that was a great surprise. I think, do you remember, so they, for those listening, they surprised us at the start by being like, if you take a first place, you have to give a mini speech. And it's right. Like, we're all like, oh, let's leave. Like, all of us, like, we don't want to do this
I thought
anymore.
I saw you trying to scale down the fire escape.
Well, I didn't think I'd be getting first in anything.
Surprise!
And dark lager, and it's like, we just, sometimes you can indicate, like, they announce the name first, and then they say the brewery, and it's like, well, for us, Doppelbock, we just call Doppelbock.
Right, yeah.
So they're like, first, Doppelbock, and I'm like, oh, cool,
I'm sure there were a bunch of people like, hey,
won.
we won something.
And then they're like, Northbound. I'm like, me? Us? What? And also they, for the first place winners, they give this like cool cup chalice.
Yeah.
And I had joked leading up, I'm like, I really just want to get one of those so I can drink out of it.
Right.
Like, I just want to drink out of it. I don't actually care about the first place. I just want this cool drinking cup. And then, we get first, and I go up there, and I say something to that extent. And you, Dan,
boom,
I came up with.
It was a modest Supra Deluxe.
Yeah, that's right.
One of my favorite
such a
rice
great
lagers.
And you pour some in the cup, and I don't know. That was
just a wonderful.
Really fun.
That was a wonderful moment.
Yeah.
First of all, I was very excited for you.
Thank you.
As we've talked over the years, like I know that you are very dedicated to your craft and your artistry, and I just know that like as a kind of a creative person myself, to be recognized for something that you put a lot into is an incredibly meaningful experience, and people maybe don't understand, and now they're going to hear the story, but I'm sure that this beer did not become award-winning or deserving of an award on accident. So take me through like kind of the origin story of this beer. Maybe why Northbound brews a Doppelbock? It's not a very common style.
Yeah.
It's not dry hopped with 18,000 pounds of Citra. So in this day and age, why a Doppelbock?
Jamie, I believe, I always had a Doppelbock on in the winter. Even really before we started a lager program, we'd get a lager pitch from someone or order one in. And the old head brewer, Joel Scott, we used to do Infusion Tuesdays. It's now replaced with...
I remember those.
The interest in that died off, so now we just have a super aggressive happy hour on Tuesdays, which is $2.50 house pints excluding...
If you haven't been here for that, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, that's quite a deal. But for Joel, it's like, for an infusion, quote unquote, one of these times, I'm going to do a Bach poking is the infusion. And I believe they're also doing Eisbach, which is a concentrated iced version of Doppelbock.
It's also delicious, by the way.
Yeah, dangerous and delicious. That's
if you want to become a better dancer in the span of 3 hours, come to the Northbound Eisbach poking.
Or 30 minutes for some of the people.
That's true, yes. Depending on how steeled your liver is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So kind of forgot exactly where I was going with this, but yeah, so we always had made a Doppelbock for the winter, and a couple years back, I was like, there's the recipe that existed here, and it was good. There was nothing wrong with it, and I was like, hey, Jamie, let me rewrite the recipe. Now it's not. We use from, it's all Weyermann malt out of Germany, but their Barca line, which is this rich, beautiful, I believe it's just a single origin malt, and then they do the Munich malting process or style to it. Just so robust. It's the base of this beer, and then it's some Cara Bohemian, which I think is this beautiful specialty malt.
Okay.
Helps add more layers to the Doppelbock, and then a little bit of Carafoam for head retention, and some floor malted Bohemian dark Pilsner malt.
Yeah. So. I really like this beer. It's one of those beers that you can't just like take a sip and then stop thinking about it, because as you like, kind of keep it in your mouth and sip, there's like kind of like a flavor journey that's happened. There's this caramel, and then you get roast, and then you get chocolate, and then it kind of finishes dry, which is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because there has to be a lot of sweetness in here. So I think that's a mark of not only a good beer, but the mark of a good brewer to be able to coax those flavors and textures out of a beer.
Oh, thank you.
This is really special. I can totally understand why it's so decorated. So I was there in person when you won the Minnesota Brewers Cup Award. Talk to me about how you found out about the gold in the World Beer Cup.
Yeah, so the World Beer Cup, for listeners, is the biggest international beer competition, and it's always in tandem with Craft Brewers Conference. So it'll move where it's located each year. But this past year, the conference was in Vegas. And so at the end of the conference, they have the World Beer Cup. So I was there in person, just Jamie and I, and then Derek from Town Hall
nice.
was also there to my right. And, I never would have thought, one of my beers will ever win a gold in anything. I'm like, someday maybe a bronze at GABF or World Beer Cup would be infinitely affirming, right?
Yeah.
And then, so we're sitting there, and, a couple other categories have come and gone that we've entered in, and it's like, yeah, there we go. And then, it did well at the Minnesota Beer Cup, but that doesn't always translate, especially international, right?
Yeah. Something to clarify for people listening. The World Beer Cup, it's not just breweries in the United States.
No, it's
all over the world.
Yeah. So you'll see.
So Germany,
yeah,
you're going to get German breweries who have been brewing these beers for, I don't know, like 300, 400 years.
Yeah.
That's a caveat that people need to understand.
Yeah, and that's what Jamie talks about. He's like, it's the cool thing. If you win at World Beer Cup, you are most likely, at least in like these traditional styles, competing against breweries who help define the style. Which I have my favorite Doppelbock is the Eyinger Celebrator Doppelbock.
Yeah,
and I think Eyinger won in the Weiss beer category or something like that. So it's like, did they have Celebrator in there? Because there's gold. Our Doppelbock, it should be Eyinger should get the gold. I think that's the ideal Doppelbock myself, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're at the award ceremony, and Doppelbock comes up, and we're like, oh, maybe here we go. And then it's like bronze went to actually Beer Club Brewing in Mora, Minnesota. So shout out to them, which was really cool. And we're like, whoa, cool, good for them. And then silver went to someone in Ohio, and at that point it's like, give up on the category. Well, we tried. And then it's like gold goes to, as I kind of said earlier, Doppelbock. And I'm like, holy shit, who's Doppelbock? And then they say Northbound, and just freaking out occurs. Like, what?
That's so awesome.
Oh, man. You'll have to ask, Derek or something what my actual reaction was. Adrenaline, it's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, right. Well, and, just that excitement. And so I'm assuming you go on stage, you get your medal, and then, how did you celebrate?
Yeah, so what was cool, they actually, and probably because they know their audience, the Brewers Association who puts this on was like, we're going to mail everyone their medals. You're in Vegas, we're not letting you go out with that.
Let's put it all on red.
Double or nothing.
That's why you're like, sir, you can't come through TSA with no pants on. Well, it's a long story, but I won a World Beer Cup award.
No, so what was cool, I don't know if it was just because we are in Vegas or if they'll be doing this from now on, but they gave sashes out to people who won, and gold if you want gold, silver, so on. And so all night I'm wearing this gold sash, and then you see others.
I remember seeing pictures of that.
Yeah, it's downstairs. It's,
nice.
I feel it's too flashy to wear outside.
Yeah, I mean it's very gloomy out. You don't want to be that guy wearing the gold medal sash at the end of the bar.
Too ostentatious, I'd say.
Right.
But yeah, so we kind of like right off the bat went to just a kind of like a whiskey bar in the Venetian, and Derek bought us all around of whiskeys because he was so happy for us. So thank you, Derek. And then we went out. Was Craft House Brewing, I believe it was called. One of the breweries I had not been to yet, and so having some beers there, celebrating, and this guy walks in, and he goes, "Oh, what did you win gold in?" And I'm like, "Oh, Doppelbock." And he's like, "Oh, I was a final judge," because they do the judging there, and they have all the judges there.
Okay.
And he's like, "Oh, I was a final judge on that panel." I just like shake his hand, like, "Thank you very much."
Yeah,
like,
that's cool.
So world's a small place.
Yeah,
I guess.
So what? I know that you get. Do you get the feedback? Do you get to see the scoring sheets after the fact? A little bit. How they do it with GABF and World Beer Cup, at least, is you only get the first round of comments back. Oh, so interesting.
You don't get. I don't know if it was different in the past or what, but we've only ever gotten the first round.
Okay.
So for those listening, there's usually a minimum of 3 rounds where they eliminate beers.
Yeah.
But the first round is the only thing they're filling out scorecards for and giving you feedback on.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
okay.
I believe that's because to make it, they're going through so many beers now, and there's only so many judges,
right.
And so yeah, I have no idea what was said in the second or third round. And what was interesting, we get our scorecards back a couple weeks later, and it's like the Doppelbock initially, it did fine enough of the 3 judges, but they weren't like raving about it.
Okay.
And then I know they change judges around. I don't know exactly how they go about it. But Neil from Bent Paddle, who won a gold that day for his alt beer, hey Neil, he's won a fair amount of medals. Amazing, phenomenal brewer. And I think I posted a meme about joyously winning a medal, and then getting the comments back and being like, "Oh no," and he's like, "Hey dude, I always feel like they must get better judging along the way." But then, for instance, our Belgian Dark Strong rave reviews, almost as high as you can get on the first round. They all could not say nice enough things.
Yeah,
did not make it out of the second round. Right. So it's interesting. So,
well, judging is so subjective, and I have to imagine it's how many beers are they tasting, and just I don't know, sometimes just the right thing at the right time. Order probably matters.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
I mean, I am not a beer judge.
Yeah.
I'm not experienced in it, and I know there are those who are very good at it and very experienced. But yeah, they're palate fatigue's a real thing.
Yeah.
And there is a degree to subjectivity.
Yep.
I would say not in. So you're in judging, you're following a guideline.
Yep.
And you can have, say, 5 excellent, say Doppelbocks in this case. One's maybe on the more malty side, one's a touch drier, and then one's like in the middle, and two others are kind of. And it's like, well, like I'm sure there's a bell curve if you were to like cycle through a bunch of judges.
Sure.
And I think it'd be interesting, or maybe there's been an experiment like that to see if a bell curve can be established, right? But hopefully, like if you're a beer judge and you're like, these two beers are excellent for the style, I have a preference for this one.
Sure, yeah.
And
personal bias comes into play, I'm sure. Like, if they get to a point where they're like kind of like really splitting hairs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming at that point, I mean, that's, in philosophy, there's a very, I'm sure you can just find it online. One of my favorite essays from David Hume, Scottish Enlightenment philosopher, is on the standard of taste. And he talks about like judges and trying to establish a standard of taste and like to argue against subjectivity, at least to an extent, and like think of like in the realm of good beers, not that it's like hierarchical, but more like there's a realm of great beers and then like a realm of good beers and so on and so forth. It's not exactly a down the line rank.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I am super excited that you won that award and have won awards for this beer. I think it's really good. And for those of you listening, if you're like, hey, I've never tasted a gold medal World Beer Cup award-winning beer, get your buns down to Northbound because it's on tap now.
Yeah.
So, that's a great way to celebrate. Now, as we were talking earlier, typically this beer is released. Doppelbocks traditionally are released in the cooler months of the year.
Yeah.
So this was kind of like a special release of this beer.
Yeah.
You just wanted to like, hey, come in and try this Doppelbock. It's great.
Yeah. So what happened is because
you took the red eye from Vegas. I'm like, I'm brewing this beer when I get back.
Almost. Yeah. So for competitions, you're packaging like a month and a half, 2 months in advance, sending them out. So by the time World Beer Cup happens and we win, well, we had been out for a week and a half. And so we had like this flood of people because, the news, like, here's all these breweries that won from Minnesota. And, we had people coming in and, we posted that we won. And then we had to clarify, but we don't have it because some people were very upset. And I understand. Like, I when I go to a place, if they have an award-winning beer, I always want to try it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was like, well, let's lean into it. Usually we release it as November, December time.
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, let's just roll with it. I know we're making a lot of summer seasonals right now, a lot of summer lagers, but, let's just go for it. And then we can also enter it in GABF. So
yeah, nice.
Because usually it's not ready by that time.
Yeah.
So, releasing a big, strong, multi-German beer at midsummer,
Well, dang nabbit, somebody has to.
Yeah, right. And there's always those people who are like, yeah, I'm drinking, big multi-beers any chance I get. I don't care what the temp is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think it's a good time to break and a good segue into the second half because I want to talk more about the beer portfolio here at Northbound when we come back. But both our glasses are empty, and I know it's very bad luck to do a podcast with two empty glasses. So we're going to pause here and refill. You are listening to a one-pint stand. We're here at Northbound Smokehouse with Andy, the city elf Rosenthal. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully you're enjoying a one-pint stand. My aim is to help spread the word about craft beer. Enjoying craft beer is a passion of mine, and I love chatting about it with other people. A one-pint stand has a goal of helping breweries tell their stories. I love to get out in and beyond Minnesota to visit breweries, beer bars, and meet other interesting beer people. If you are also into those things, you will probably want to keep tabs on the show. So go ahead and follow a one-pint stand on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I also recently started a TikTok account because I was tired of Charles calling me a boomer for not having one. I'd also appreciate any and all positive reviews on Spotify and Apple Music or wherever it is you listen to the show. More reviews make it easier for other craft beer listeners to find us. If you want to be a supporter of the podcast with some of that extra change you found in your couch cushions, I started a Patreon. There are 3 different monthly levels of support, and they're priced at $1, $3, or $5 levels. If you pledge at the $3 pint hoister level or the $5 keg stander level, you get some pretty cool perks. So go to patreon.com and search a 1 pint stand to check it out. One thing I should note, because of the nature of the podcast, it is listed as 18 and over. I assure you it's not leading you down some sort of weird feet pick rabbit hole. It's just because we're talking about beer. So we already have 7 supporters, and I'm really excited about what this means for the show. So if you feel like you want to become the 8th Patreon supporter, go to patreon.com or follow the link in the show notes. If you like reading about craft beer, check out my written work on a onepintstand.com. I'm starting to post more travel things, and I'm also moving over some of the past favorite articles that I wrote when I was at Beer Ploma. So I truly appreciate you listening and taking time to enjoy our stories. Now, back to the show.
How about a beer?
Welcome back to a 1 pint stand. We're on the home stretch, second half of this wonderful beer conversation with Andy, the city elf, Rosenthal. We're here at Northbound Northbound Smokehouse and Brewpub, located in South Minneapolis. So in the first half, we talked a lot about your beer history into craft beer and then into subsequently into brewing. We talked about the award-winning Doppelbock that we just enjoyed. And now we're here. We have full pours of I have the Pravi Pils. Is that what you have as well?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's do a cheers. There it is. We do our own sound effects here on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm well acquainted with this beer because it is always so clean and so refreshing. There's certain places I go in the Twin Cities and beyond where, like, there's beers that I have to have at least one of. So we talked a lot about Town Hall. Every time I go to Town Hall, I at least have one of the beers I have has to be a Dort.
Oh, yeah. Great beer.
When I go to Arbeiter, which is also in the neighborhood, one of my beers has to be a Ha-Ha Pils.
Oh, yeah.
And when I come here, one of my beers has to be a Pravi Pils. So now...
Seeing a theme.
Yes, exactly. I'm a big lager guy. Also, if you drink a fair amount, it's nice I like to keep the octane level low.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of just like hanging out for a while. And you can't do that. I'm just going to guess one of the little tasters here I have is the Castro's Vintage. And I'm guessing that's not a 3.2% beer.
No, it's... I only make the beer. It's like 9-something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Exactly.
Why should I know this?
It's not a session beer. Let's just say that. So I feel like this is a good segue into kind of like the beer portfolio at Northbound. From the get-go, one of the things that kind of caught my eye was that the first beer that I really kind of fell in love with here was a Smokehouse Porter. And I know that you also, at least at the time, were using it in your beer cheese soup. Is that still the case?
Yes. Yeah, the porter goes into the beer cheese, which is it may get rotated in, but it's not currently on the menu.
Okay.
I don't make decisions in the kitchen, and I mean, this past winter we had it year round, or like always on, but maybe just like we always have the chili and then a soup de jour. So
okay.
I'm assuming our soup and chili sales goes down in the summer, but
I would hope so.
But yeah,
It takes a real psychopath to want to eat like beer cheese soup when
What
it's
did you
96.
just call me?
Oh God, we're gonna have to end this early. Yes, Andy is now
Goodbye,
brandishing
Dan.
a machete.
I believe it's used in our house chili, our smoked wings, and the beer cheese soup.
Smoked wings. You mentioned that you with to keep a homebrew journal.
Yes.
I keep a smoked wings journal that's
Good
filled
man.
with naughty things I would do to get those smoked wings every day. That was like really what kind of really wowed me when I first came here. As I mentioned in the first half, I had some coworkers who lived in the neighborhood, and they're like, "You got to go to this Northbound place. Their beers are great, and they do smoked wings." And at that point, I lived a very sheltered life. We didn't have cable. I didn't
The
know.
brewer?
I didn't know. Yeah, but that's right. Exactly.
Cable.
Oh, cable. That goofball. A lot of people like. I had a very sheltered childhood. I wasn't really allowed to watch much TV. So when I got out into the big city, everything was new to me. And smoked wings, I'm like, I had regular wings, buffalo wings, never smoked wings. And the smoked wings here are to die for.
Yeah.
They are so good. But that's not the only thing they have on the menu. Being a smokehouse, I remember back in the day that not only will you smoke wings, you smoke pork, you alluded to bacon.
Yep.
So there's all sorts of really good stuff on the menu. But I believe that also people need to know about the beers. So what are some of the core beers that kind of are always on tap? And then what are some of your more popular seasonals?
Okay. So we have 4-year rounds here. So we have our most popular, Big Jim IPA.
Big Jim
named-
IPA.
Yeah, named after Jamie's dad.
Okay.
Jamie's dad is from rural Minnesota, and I guess his dad's really short, but had this like big personality.
Okay.
Really popular in the community. So they always called him Big Jim because of his like big gregarious personality.
Okay.
And so when Jamie was designing the year-round IPA, he named it after his dad.
That's cool.
That's kind of what we, I guess, would maybe call like a Midwest IPA in a way. It's malty, very hoppy, kind of like that Furious, Masala Mama-esque sort of IPA.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I remember being kind of like one of the first IPAs that I really kind of enjoyed because it was very balanced between like the malty backbone and then you get a nice amount of like a little bit of that piney citrus kind of finish at the end.
Yeah. It's of the 3 places I've brewed at, it's my favorite house IPA personally.
Yeah.
Jamie is always like, really? More than Masala Mama? I'm like, it's just a personal preference. Like, Masala Mama's great.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong. I'm like, and I'm not trying to suck up.
Closed circuit to Mike Hoops. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's palate is a little different. Yeah. And so, what one person loves, another person might really like. But, IPAs are... There's quite a continuum of flavors and stuff, so it's like, drink what you want.
Yeah.
I don't like people to beer shame. That's not going to help grow the phenomenon of craft beer.
Yeah.
But yeah, Big Jim. I also remember back in the day that there would also be different, especially at festivals, there'd be like a blood orange version of that beer that I couldn't get enough of. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, back when we do fests and infusions more regularly, we do different versions.
Yeah.
Or like different infusions. But yeah, it's been a while since we've done that.
Yeah. I like to live in the past. Don't get me started about the 90s. So the Big Jim IPA is this Pravi Pils. This wasn't always on the menu.
No, so It's about a year before about 2019-ish. About a year before the pandemic, year and a half before, we started our lager program. Like I kind of mentioned before, we'd like get some lager yeast once in a while, but we're like, our old year-round lighter option was honey wheat, which I still think was a pretty good beer. I like wheat beers and I like honey, so
Yeah.
And then when I started here, we switched to a cream ale. Just like price of honey went up and stuff. And,
Sure.
But then we're like, well, cream ale's fine. But we're starting this lager program. Let's make a Czech-style Pilsner.
Yeah.
And so we got a reverse osmosis machine in to match the Pilsen water profile, which is this really soft glacial melt water historically. So we use RO to strip out the water and build the profile back up. And Jamie's brother-in-law is has his master's in water chemistry,
Oh, wow.
water engineering or something,
Yikes.
Something crazy. And he helped build us our own personal water calculator for when we're.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really nice for when we want to design the water profile for a beer.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what. Okay. Because this is, a lot of places have lagers on tap, but this one just has a nice character, and just seems like sometimes you taste a beer and it's good,
Yeah.
and then you have a beer that's like, oh wow, it's like that last 10% that really differentiates a great beer from a good beer.
Yeah.
And it's those little things, I think. You mentioned RO system, water calculator. Those are things that not every brewery has at their disposal. But when you go into a place and you see that they've taken those extra steps, it really does show in the product.
Yeah. And kind of back to the Doppelbock real quick. The batch that won, besides changing the recipe a couple of years ago, this past time, I RO'd the water and adjusted the water profile, and I think that's what really put it over the edge. It just cleaned it up that much more. We do, for some of our beers, brew with Straits Minneapolis City water.
Yeah.
Which is good water, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I think people say it's kind of relative to Munich water.
Mm-hmm.
So theoretically, something like a Doppelbock, you don't need to strip out and rebuild up. But
Yeah.
I think it absolutely, with any lager, we're ROing.
Yeah.
Because I think it just cleans it up that much more in some of our ales
Yeah.
too.
I kind of liken it to, if you're making a soup, if you make your own chicken stock and use that versus the store-bought.
Yeah.
The store-bought's going to taste good
Yeah.
if it's a good recipe, but that homemade just puts it just a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
This one goes to 11, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
So this is a really good beer. I really like this. Not only because it's summer, I'll drink this beer year round just because it's so crisp.
Yeah. Jamie and I put a lot of work into this, and even after the first year of making it, we kind of talked about the recipe and tweaked it just a touch.
Yeah.
And we're happier with it than we were before. And we use it's a blend of floor malted Bohemian Pilsner malt, also from Wireman, and then there's standard and a bit of Carafoam, and then classic Czech Saaz hops.
Yeah.
So we really tried, probably means true or genuine in Czech.
Yeah.
So we're trying to be as honest to the style as we could.
Yeah. I think you definitely succeed with this one. This is just a nice. It's beer flavored beer.
Yeah, it is.
And in these times, and it's nice to see. We went through a phase in craft beer where a lot of times you'd walk into a place and you'd look at the menu of the 12 beers, maybe 4 of them were different variations of a hazy IPA or a New England style IPA. You might have some fruited sours, maybe a milkshake sour, and then these diabolical things called pastry stouts. which, you know,
Diabetes stats.
there's a reason A1C is jumped up in this country. It's because of the craft beer. But, you know, throughout the years, Northbound has really kind of stayed true, I feel, to offering variety.
Yeah.
And not really, you know, not really jumping on all the trends.
No.
Is that on purpose or on accident?
More on purpose, but a little bit of both. You know, like when it comes to hazies, you know, it's a recognized style and everything. I've had ones I like and I've had ones I don't like, just like any other style. But Jamie doesn't like the style, so that just means I don't have to worry about brewing one, which, you know, I'm fine with.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. I mean, in a way, I guess it's nice to hear when people are like, I want your take on a hazy, but also I'm like, no, like, I have no experience making a hazy. Go to the people who do it well already.
Right.
You don't need me.
And we've got some fabulous,
IPA.
we've got some fabulous examples of those in the cities.
Yeah.
You know, so go to Barrel Theory, go to Black Stack, like do that.
Dreamyard.
Yes, Dreamyard is awesome. Dual Citizen has some great IPAs. Like, if you're willing to get out of the city, go up to Lupulin, go to drastic measures. But, like, I think it's important to kind of play to your strengths. And if that's not something, it's very easy to make a bad hazy IPA.
Yeah.
I don't think people really understand that. A Fair State, they understand.
Fair State
like,
makes
they
good-
make
good.
wonderful.
Great
so
beer
there's, like,
overall.
really good stuff. But, like, I appreciate kind of, like, that I can come in here and see a variety of things on tap.
Yeah, we've had a lot of compliments from like other brewers or people who have also just been like enthusiastic about beer and kind of generally know, you know, have a bigger background in drinking a variety. You know, there's some people I kind of refer to as like the old guard of craft beer, and they're the individuals who went around to the original brew pubs before you could go to tap rooms. The only place to get a beer on tap that made it was at a brew pub. So like I met them when I was at Barley John's because they just rotate. They'd go to Great Waters, they'd go to Town Hall, and then you know, they'll also, not that Northbound isn't part of the old school, but we'll get them coming in and saying nice things. And I mean, I've never thought about it as intentional. Both Jamie and I, and now we also have Charlie brewing here, kind of making beers that we want to make, but also keeping the audience in mind. We try to have a one-off IPA on in addition to Big Jim, just because hops are, I mean, a huge seller.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also, for a lot lot of our seasonals, do play to the seasons.
Yeah,
So,
which I love.
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
that speaks to me in a very, very good way. I'm a seasonal drinker. I think a lot of people are. So I think it's nice to, in the Twin Cities, we really do have almost an embarrassment of craft beer riches when it comes to it. You can find the places that will have a bunch of IPAs on, and you'll find the places that have like the seasonal, you know, the beers that match the weather, kind of a sort of thing. I want to know about the food. How much, as you know, in the in the brew house with you and Charles, how often do you guys, you know, kind of like sit down, like, here's what we have on the food menu. I wonder if this beer would pair with this food, or like, is that something you intentionally highlight? Wait, is that a bill? No, have her take that back.
we just had
State
a
of
mail
Minnesota.
delivery.
Ay,
Mail delivery. You never know what you're going to
Hey,
get.
you know, it could be the Publishers Clearinghouse.
Yeah, right. Thank you to our postal workers for getting the mail out.
That's right.
Special shout out.
Braving literally
The rain today.
Insane. Yeah. How many times you get somebody coming in with a bag of mail and they're like, yeah, fuck it. They put in the trash, sit down, order a porchetta and a Big Jim IPA. This is the universe telling me I'm taking a different path.
We have not had that. Our old mail lady, we did give a crowler on her last day doing a route before she switched to a different route. But
nice.
They can't drink on the job.
Right, they can't.
They should change
wink,
that.
Wink, wink. No. If you're listening and you've ever found an empty crowler in your mailbox, let us know.
Please return. No, recycle. Please return to recycling. Talking about recycling. There's a joke here.
Please return. That's good.
Thanks. We have a kind of an internal joke here at Northbound where, everyone gets, junk mail, random, whatevers. But especially as a business, you get tons of just random, stuff that you're you take one glance and you're right into the recycling. So our joke is, they wanted us to recycle that for them. That's why they sent it here.
Nice.
Here, recycle this for us.
That's good stuff.
It's just a way to support the postal service.
Ah, right, exactly. So the food. I know that there's
sorry.
No, that's okay. We were interrupted by the postal workers, and they're out doing the Lord's work today. But I know that specifically, we already mentioned the beer cheese soup, the wings.
Yep.
What other menu items are cooked prepared with the beer? Because I think beer is a really interesting vehicle for food flavors.
Yeah.
There's a beer for every food pairing.
Yeah.
Which is you can't say that about wine or spirits.
Yeah, that's what they say. Of course, I'm not an expert in wine. I generally enjoy reds more. But yeah, I don't know, the variety of beer, as you know, is immense, and you can really do a lot with that. Anywhere from a delicate lager to go with a salad or some cheeses or something to a nice rich imperial stout to pair with dessert and everything. And, in between. So we use our Pravi pills in some of our batters.
Okay.
And I believe that's about sometimes I change stuff up in the kitchen, and I'm, that's not my department, so my knowledge may not be as precise. But yeah, I think a lot of pilsner in the fish batter and different things, and then Smokehouse porter in the wings, beer cheese, chili. So no, usually when we're designing a beer or a new beer, I guess we usually don't have an intention on purposely pairing it with we'll brew this just to pair with the Reuben or something. Just the general variety, even from the 4-year rounds, there should be something to go with the food.
Yeah. Now, speaking of food, this place has been recognized for what I would categorize as exceptional food.
Yeah.
Talk to me about just because I'm a big fan of diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Yeah. It's a great show.
If I could, every year I'd take 3 weeks and book a trip to Flavortown.
Right.
So, tell me about the fact not only that Northbound Smokehouse and Brewpub has been featured on Triple D once, but twice.
Yeah. We're really fortunate. I wasn't working here during the first time, but Guy Fieri, so the story I'm told is the film crew maybe still is based out of the Twin Cities.
Okay.
And the film crew for Triple D would take the light rail to the airport to fly out. And they love this place. And were once asked, hey, is there a place you guys have encountered in your travels? And they're like, actually, this is the place we stopped by, on our way to the airport or on the way back for beer and food, and we love it. You should check it out. And I believe that is how we got on initially.
Okay.
And so it featured our, I think the episode's called Piggin' Out, because a lot of pork dishes from the several restaurants on the episode were featured. And then our 18-hour smoked porchetta, which is more the... So as a Smokehouse, the original chef, Bryce Strickler, now lives in Denver. He's from the Iron Range.
Okay.
And it was more of a northern Minnesota Iron Range style smokehouse, at least to begin with. And we still are. We're trying some barbecue items and different stuff now too. And so the 18-hour porchetta is a bit different than I think the traditional what people call a porchetta.
Okay.
And I can't speak to all the differences.
Oh, here's what I know. I know when you order one, you better have an appetite.
Yeah.
Because it's like the size of Montana, and it's a delicious sandwich.
It's so good.
I have to imagine that's the most popular thing, or kind of like what people come in asking for the most.
Yeah, it's our highest selling item, food-wise, just by individual numbers, is our wings, which are also featured in the same episode. Yeah. And I don't know, that's also, can be an appetizer or a meal, so maybe you get more orders and people share them and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were the first two items featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And then middle of the pandemic, we got to be featured on a revisit episode. The Losers Revisits.
Okay.
And that featured our wild rice veggie burger that we make from scratch. Very little food-wise here is something we buy, almost everything's from scratch, right? So yeah, it's our wild rice veggie burger, and then I think that beer cheese soup got featured too.
Okay, cool.
It's been a minute since I've seen that episode.
So were you here for the second time, and did you get to meet Guy Fieri?
So they're I think they're pretty strict on how they do these episodes. So first I was like, Jamie, am I going to be able to work that day? And he's like, oh yeah, you won't be interrupted. And then it turns out no. They don't want background noise and brewery pumps running and stuff.
I spent all night bedazzling this sign that said Flavortown or Bust, and then I was oh, God.
No, and also because it was the pandemic,
Oh, sure, that makes sense.
They're kind of doing this, everything. They made it seem like it wasn't the pandemic, right, of the viewing, because, editing and stuff. But Guy ended up not making it this time out, because I don't think he went to every revisit during the...
Oh, okay.
But how they splice the old episode together with the new one makes it seem like he's here.
Okay.
And
I was going to say, probably during the pandemic.
Yeah,
that would be tricky.
It was the pandemic. And so I had the day off.
Nice. Oh, sweet.
Couldn't work.
Could we get Guy Fieri to show up every Thursday? Just have a little R&R?
Yeah, well, Dickie, brewer over at head brewer at Ladonia.
Oh yeah.
Hey Dickie.
He's been on here before.
2 years in a row now. We've done a collab, a rye IPA, and we call it Rye Fieri because he's a huge.
I've had that beer. Yes, and, that's funny.
We keep always trying to at Guy Fieri, trying to get his attention.
Yeah. Hey,
come check this beer out. Maybe it's Flavortown worthy.
Okay. Well, the question I was really curious about was is that his real hair, or is it just a porcupine that grew up next to a uranium plant that he puts on before filming?
I really hope it's the porcupine.
Yes,
I mean, I said, I wasn't here, but man, that'd be cool.
That's right. Yeah, so people gush about the food here. Of the menu items that I've had the porchetta, the wings, the trout dip. I think what else? I think I had a burger here once, or am I making that up?
We have burgers.
Yeah, I had a burger here.
I think they're. Oh gosh, this is going to sound so backhanded. I think we do a nice job on our burgers.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're just I think it's a nice solid burger.
Yeah. Northbound, Smokehouse, and Brewpub is obviously a brewpub. It's in the name. For people that don't know, or maybe need a little bit of a clarification on the definition of what makes a brew pub and how is it different from a brewery. Talk to me like I'm a second grader and give me the definition of how those two entities are different.
I would say you're at least a fourth grader.
Oh, thank you.
No, so how I like describing brewery versus brew pub is that you need to look a little bit at history. Because there is a lot of confusion now.
Yeah.
So, and keep in mind, listeners, this will vary state to state due to,
Yep.
you know, each state has various laws and prohibition, you know, mess a lot of stuff up, et cetera, et cetera. Historically in Minnesota, you could be a brew pub or you could be a brewery. So if you were a brewery pre-Surly Bill
Okay.
and growlers, sales, and all that, you were looking to make a lot of beer, sell it at, you know, to your distributor or whatever at a lower profit margin. So it's kind of like a volume thing.
Yep.
So you're making a lot of beer, less margin, and then it gets distributed to liquor stores and bars. And now, or you could be a brew pub. And sorry to back up, there's no tap rooms or anything, right? Just want to re-emphasize that. So you can maybe go get a tour at a brewery back in the day, and they'll give you some
like
samples.
the old Flat Earth. You would show up on Saturday, they just pour you little samples.
But they could not. You couldn't hang out and just drink some pints with your friends.
Right.
So brew pubs think of as a restaurant that happens to make its own beer. So back in the day, you would have food, full bar, wine, liquor, so you can do cocktails, have ciders on. You can buy guest beers, right? You can buy other people's beer and put it on tap, and then also make beer yourself. And now you're making beer, and the profit margin for making a pint compared to what you are selling it at is really good.
Yeah.
And that's when the taproom law came to be, what has helped support all these breweries and opening, and why they could open, because they have that nice revenue stream in addition to distributing. But brew pubs are not allowed to distribute. The laws have only changed to benefit breweries. So breweries have been evolving and have caused confusion because of that evolution. So, okay, you can do growler sales. Okay, now you can serve pints on tap in-house. And you can also have a kitchen if you want. So at this point, if you're a brewery with a kitchen, the only thing you can't do is have liquor, wine, guest taps, cider, guest cider on. I mean, if you make your own, like, cider, cider beer, like a Sizer or whatever, you can do that. So brew pubs have been left in the dust by the changes and the advocacy. I don't own a brew pub. I just happen to work in them. But, some people back in the day, there was a push when it was kind of the OG brew pubs. And it seemed like it was going to pass, and it depends on who you ask. And I've heard different things from different people. But, so brew pubs, you can't distribute. Yeah. You have to come here to have it. And we can do growlers to go. So,
and isn't another... So... I feel like we've been talking about Town Hall a lot, but for every kind of satellite location you open as a brew pub, doesn't that lift the cap of how many barrels you can brew per year?
I am not familiar with that law.
Okay.
I mean, I know there are caps and stuff out there. I just, there's no way at Northbound we could brew enough in a year to hit that.
Right, yeah. How many barrels do you brew in a year?
It's in the 500s, I believe.
Okay,
which is,
all right.
I think, quite a bit for like a smaller brew pub.
Yeah.
When we first opened, and I mean, this is pre me being here, when we were just like packed all the time, people were really excited. One of the new Brewpub / breweries to open. I think Jamie said like 2 years in a row he did like 900 something barrels.
Oh, wow.
And yeah,
That is a lot.
That's an insane amount of beer for this small place. And I think almost all of them were all ales because those turn over quicker.
Oh,
It's
sure.
like if we were still doing those numbers, it'd be really hard to do our lager program.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be great if we were doing 900 some barrels a year, business wise. But it's also nice that it's like 500 something. So it's a solid number for our size, and it allows us to do lagers and take some time to do stuff.
If you could, as a brew pub, if there's like one thing you could change, what's like, the big thing you're like, I just wish this was different so we could like, compete a little bit more in the pool.
Oh, law-wise? Or?
Yeah.
Well, it's what's called one license, which would just be there's one license. It would eliminate the differences, so everyone can distribute, everyone can have guest taps, everyone can do liquor and wine, etc. It's just an even playing field. So we're a big proponent of that. Well, I don't know if we're a big proponent. That's what should be done, I think. Even if it was one license tomorrow, we would not be expanding. We'd want to, do a little bit for branding, because what happens all the time with the brew pubs, it's like, Barley John's, what's that? Oh, it's this OG brew pub. No one, or even Town Hall, despite having several satellite restaurants. Sometimes people are like, oh, they make their own beer, or what, do they make their own beer down at the tap or the lanes? It's like, no, at the brewery, right? So you don't have that, you're not seen on tap, you're not seen in the stores. Yeah. And we would just want to be in a couple places around us just for some branding.
Sure.
Because, we have the Blue Door just across Hiawatha here. Yeah. And there's times people are like, you go there, or like, what's a Northbound? And it's like, we're right over here.
Yeah, it'd be nice, or just to like, even if they were like, okay, you can have this many barrels or this much percentage of what you make to go out.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, we don't, especially for kind of going back to the brew pub model, historically, you make more per pint, even with an aggressive 250 Tuesday happy hour. Yeah. And it's 350 beers every other day, except Saturday's the only day we don't do a happy hour. But it's like, we're still making great,
that's a tremendous deal.
It is, and we can do that because we make our own beer. Yeah. And compared to like buying kegs, and the cost per pint is a lot less. But still, it'd be nice to be able to do a little more branding.
So Northbound is a brew pub. They brew their own beer. They can have guest taps. They have cocktail. They have a beer slushy machine. Is that a seltzer?
No.
What is that?
No, that's a straight frozen cocktail. We're not.
Okay.
That's right now. It's a watermelon mint mojito.
Ooh,
something
fun.
like
okay.
that.
All right.
Once again, we have our GM and other bar staff lead the cocktail and the bar program. But we've been. This is the second year we're doing a cocktail slushy, but we don't use beer in it.
Okay.
Or a seltzer base. It's all spirits and other stuff.
Well, I imagine it's nice because not everybody can drink beer, so to be able to have cocktails or wine is a nice thing. Well, I just really want to thank you for having me down here and taking time to talk about beer. I think your journey into craft beer and kind of like your insights about beer are really, really interesting, and I think it's you have great beer stories.
Minnesota, sort of like, oh, that's interesting.
Not Minnesota interesting. This is more of a New Hampshire interesting. When you see a seal out on a rock formation in the sea, and you want to swim out and just just talk to it for a while.
Yeah.
That kind of interesting. So this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks
The
for
beers
having
are
me.
excellent, and congratulations again on the success of the Doppelbock. I'll be
you.
anxiously listening to the live stream of the GABF with a rapt
God.
anticipation
Yeah,
to see.
The
Now, will you
trifecta would
only
be nice,
what I'm wondering, if you win, will you just like put the sash back on? Will you bring the sash? Will you go? Are you going to GABF?
Right now, we haven't bought tickets. The plan is to. I once again think that'd be way too ostentatious to wear, especially like World Beer Cup versus GABF. You know, I don't know. It'd
Maybe
be,
some breakaway pants with some chaps.
for you,
Gold
Dan,
medal, baby.
anything. No. I just think that it'd be that's. I could.
You are
be that
very humble.
flashy.
Now we should say,
Pretty
okay,
nice.
I gotta talk about this because when we paused the recording for a second, there was a gentleman at the bar who is from Chicago.
Yeah.
And came over and said hi. I guess he's here quite often when he was passing through town.
Yeah.
And he's like, this guy is way too humble. He makes great beers. And just the look on your face, you are very humble.
Oh, thank you.
And I really think it's great when people get a compliment and just kind of like, you kind of take it in. And like, I get like not wanting to have like a big head, but like, you should know that you do great work.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank you.
that's really cool to see somebody express that to you, and just like the feeling of happiness, the look of happiness on your face made my day.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
That was very cool. So thank you so much for having me. Again, if you're regular at Northbound or you've never been to Northbound, come in, have some food, have some beer, have an alcoholic slushie. And then have some smoked wings.
Yeah. And I do have to say I am not a cocktail expert, but I can say this because I'm not part of the cocktail program here. I think we have like a really solid cocktail program. Like it's really, really nice. Like the old fashions here. There's traditional, but they're just really good. I'm always happy to have a old fashioned here, and I'm disappointed a lot of times when I go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can say that because I don't have anything to do with it. Just like the wings.
Yeah.
Every time a plate of buffalo wings goes by and I don't order them every day, it's a miracle. I'm like, why does God give me his hardest battles?
Yes, I don't know how I would survive in a place where I was
It's
surrounded
hard.
by wings. That'd be wild. So this has been really fun. Thank you for having me, Andy.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
So this has been another on-location episode of a One Pint Stand from Northbound Smokehouse and Brewpub. Cheers.
Cheers.
When Andy won his gold medal at the Minnesota Brewers Cup Awards, and I filled up his chalice with a can of Super Deluxe from Modest, I thought that was such a great moment. Seeing Andy up there on the dais accepting the first place award for his Doppelbock showed the entire room what humility looks like. Andy is a talented brewer with an exceptional respect for craft beer. He knows the industry, and so many people know and respect him. Northbound helped usher in the new age of craft beer in Minnesota. Between their warm atmosphere, their fiercely loyal regulars, and those sensational smoked wings, they have stood the test of time. I had so much fun chatting with Andy, and the fried chicken sandwich I obliterated after we recorded was heaven. Now, earlier in the episode, I mentioned that One Pint Stand started a Patreon. Well, one of the perks at the Keg Stander supporter level is a personal thanks to those who are Keg Stander supporters. I want to give a huge thank you from the bottom of my glass and heart to our now 5 awesome Keg Stander supporters: Daniel Fisher, Todd Fitzloff, Brent Newman, Bree Smith, and Sarah Cry-Valento. I'm flattered that you chose to support the show in the way that you have. You are all incredibly generous, and I hope you know how much this means to me. I truly didn't think I would get anybody contributing at the Keg Stander level right away, and you amazing folks totally shell-shocked me with your act of support. Now I'm cooking up some fun perks and nuances to the Keg Stander level to further increase the wonderment of it for you all. So thank you a million times over for being supporters. You'll notice that I don't have a sponsor for this episode. Well, I'm hoping to change that. If you know of a craft beer-centric business that is looking to gain some exposure, then maybe have them get in touch with me about the possibility of a sponsorship. I'm willing to work with people to agree on a sponsorship package that's realistic and feasible. If you're a brewery or brewery-adjacent business, I want to work with you. If you are a multi-million-dollar company selling oven mitts, slide tackle my DMs and let's chat. With that, this has been another episode of A One Pint Stand, a Minnesota craft beer podcast where the pants stay on, but the caps come off. Cheers. Have you ever been to Hogshead?
Oh, yeah. Only once so far, but
Yeah.
but
Oh, my God.
they do so much gas ale.
That's
there.
why I
It's
want my
wonderful.
ashes to be sprinkled in the parking lot. Or maybe in one of the casks. and just don't tell
cast
anybody.
condition,
Just,
Dan.
just see. That's all. I need that shirt. Or better yet,
New,
maybe
new 1 pint stand shirt, right?
That's right. Cast condition Dan. That'll be some sort of proprietary lotion.
Oh, yeah.
Something.